Okay, we're continuing on the fastest daf town on Membeis and Medbeis. We just saw the Mishnah, and now we are on 4 lines from the top. Amar Rabba Bar Chanam Rav Yochanan Lo Shanu. When do we say this din that if a person makes a bracha on the wine before the meal, that it will pater the wine that takes place achar mozain? Lo Shanu El B'Shabbos Yom Tov. That's only if a person does this on Shabbos or Yom Tov. A person will make a bracha on wine during those times. They're kaveya. They'll be expecting perhaps to be drinking multiple cups of wine. Otherwise, you make a bracha on each cup separately. Also, you leave the bathhouse, Hadam, by bloodletting. However, Adam person will again have the same amount of wine, therefore the next cup they will have had das on it. Make a bracha on each cup. Rabba bar Mari Ikula Be Rabba B'chol. He was a weekday, so you should make a bracha on each cup. You saw that Hitaka did apparently what you're supposed to do. He made a bracha more than once. So Amalei Yesher, Yasher Koyach, he did the right thing. The Chenim Rabbi Yishim Levi, Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Yosef Hikol Abei Abaya B'Yom. So on Yom Tov, so therefore you should make a bracha only once. So Chazid Barach Al Kol Kas V'Kos. For some reason, he made a bracha on each cup. So Amalei Ai Lo Sevel Lamar Lo Hadar Rabbi Yishim Levi. So Tarki, you should have only said a bracha once, because it's on Yom Tov, you only make a bracha once. So I changed my mind, as Rashi says, I'm not normal to custom to drink wine, and therefore I wasn't expecting to really have more, and afterwards I did, so therefore because I had to say another bracha. If the person gave you wine during the meal, in other words, koidim hazon, if it was kodim mazon, it paters betocha mazon. But what if you didn't have any wine before the meal? They only gave it to you betocha mazon. Ma shifter seyayin shuli achar mazon. Well, that wine that comes in the middle, well, that pater the wine for afterwards. So imtim solemer berachal yayin shlifnei mazon pater seyayin shuli achar mazon. That the wine before you start the meal does pater. So mishum dezel lishtos, both of them have similar purposes for drinking. One in the middle of the meal, the zel lishtos is to drink. The zel lishtos, the other one is to soak the food low. So since it serves a different purpose, so because of that, one should not pot to the other. So maybe it's not a difference. Rabbi Omer Potter, Rav Kahana Omer Einu Potter, which in fact is the halacha. But again, we have this machlokus. If it's b'toicha suda, where then it'll be where a person will be yotze for after the suda, after the achar mazon. Rav Nachman Omer Potter, Rav Sheshes Omer Einu Potter. Rav Huna, Rav Yehuda v'chol tamidei hadarav Amri Einu Potter. So you have this machlokus. Eisvi Rav Nachman. So he asked the question to Rav Nachman, who says that you're Potter. If the wine comes in the middle of the meal, it says that everyone should say their own bracha. If the wine comes afterwards, then which is mashma, clearly that you have to make a bracha b'toich mazon, and you have to make an achar mazon. Okay, whether or not one person says it for everyone, that depends. But clearly you have to say more than one bracha. So it's a kasha in Rav Nachman. No, hakikam. This is the proper rating. Im lo bol lehem yain b'tocha mazayin el achar mazayin. If the wine only came at the end, then echem mevarach kulam. But taka, if it would have come b'tocha mazayin, it would have patered l'achar mazayin completely. Continues the Gemara. Baruch al pas pater sa parperes al parperes al pater sa pas. Then Beis Shammai omrim af lo masa kedera. Question is, what is Beis Shammai saying here? Iboy Beis Shammai aresha pligi o dilma save pligi. Is he arguing on the first part of the mission or the second? In other words, what exactly is he saying? Again, aresha pligi o dilma save pligi. The kaimer tanakama baruch al pas pater sa parperes. The Tanakama said if you made a bracha on bread, then you don't make a bracha on the parperis, which is less part of the meal. The kosher came Masikadera, and certainly Masikadera would not, you would not have to make a bracha on that. The bread doesn't pater the parperis. That bread doesn't pater even the masikadera. So is that what he's talking about, Beis Shammai? That he argues not only does pas not pater the parperis, but also doesn't pater the masikadera. Odilma seifapli. Tektani berach al parperis lo pater as a pas. Parperis doesn't help the bread. You still have to make a bracha on the bread. Pas so lo pater. It doesn't pater the bread of a maskadera pater, but the parperis will pater the maskadera. Also, Beis Shammai meira feel maskadera nami lo pater. No, that the parperis doesn't even pater the maskadera. Teku. So on this, we don't really understand what Beis Shammai is saying on which part of the Mishnah he's arguing about. So it says if they're sitting, everyone has to make their own bracha. If they're leaning or reclining, then one says a bracha for everyone. So hitzavu in lo hitzavu lo. Mashma, the whole reason why you say one bracha for everyone is if you're reclining. Remaining with the Gemara. 10 people are on the road. Even though they're all eating from the same bread, everyone says their own bracha. Yashvu lechoil, if they're sitting to eat, even if they're eating from their own bread, everyone, one person can make the bracha. So katani yashvu. Clearly, it says even if all they're doing is sitting, still one person can say a bracha for everyone else. So it's not true. It's not dafka when you're lying down, reclining, even a person sitting down. So Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak could go into plan because they were koivei suda saying, let us eat in this particular place, even though they didn't recline. It shows that they are connected to one another. However, if a person wouldn't designate, let's eat together in B'duch Plan, this particular location, then the din would be only if you recline would one person be able to say a bracha for everyone else. Otherwise, you would have to say a bracha separately. Kinach Nashin Rab, Azal Talmid Basrei, they went after him in Kahadru when they returned, Arinezel Nechel Lachma Anar Dank, let's go and eat bread in such a location. Basa de Karchi asked me to become a boilu. They were wondering. It's Sabu Davka Tanan. When the Mishnah says reclining, does it mamish mean reclining, and therefore one person only then is able to say the bracha for everyone else? They'll be yashvulo, but if we're sitting down like we were doing, then maybe a person has to say a bracha separately. Since we designated a specific place, so kiyatzavu maybe it's just like reclining. So we didn't know the answer. Come Rav Adamarava. So Rav Adamarava stood up because he was so distraught that all of a sudden he didn't have his Rabbi to be able to answer these shailas. So Hadar Kari Lachoreha. He turned his garment around. The Kar Kriya Achrina, and he did another tearing. To Tar Kriya, because he was so devastated. Amr Nach Nashid Rav, our Rebbe died, Uberchas Muzaynul Gamrinan. We don't even know what the halachas are over here. So Adiasa Hahusaba Ramulhu Masnisen Abraisa. He asked the stira, as we saw, Mishanu who he answered for us. The fact that we mentioned we're going to eat in this particular location, therefore it has the din as though we are koveya together, and therefore one person can say a bracha together for with everyone else. On this, we have another question. A mose amrinan bolhem yayin kol echad mevarach atzmo. When do we say if wine comes that one person can say a bracha, everyone has to say the bracha themselves? Ma tamu man di'amri yayin in sarach hatzeva. And what is the reason, according to the one who says that wine does not require hatzeva? So this we're going to actually discuss next time. Adkan.